Hi, Chef Matt here. And with the holidays behind us and a new year here, we want to focus on healthy eating, and no better way to start than with an awesome white bean chicken chili. So we're going to start our chicken chili with a pretty heavy bottom. I love this kind of cast iron pot here. And we're going to use a spray of oil instead of just drizzling, right? We're going to save a ton of calories, and we've got some fat in the chicken, so we really don't need much more than just a nice even spray on the bottom. So as you see, it's pretty hot, and we're going to start with our chicken. We want to brown this chicken pretty well on all sides, and then we're going to push it to the side when we add our onions. So as it goes in here, you see it's not even sticking. It's really nice and hot. We just want to press that down, kind of like a pancake, because we want to give it a nice surface area to brown. The browning is going to help to develop some of the flavor in there. And once you get that all nice and flat, just let it cook. Let it sear really nicely and brown. So I've been searing the first side for a couple of minutes, and now I'm going to start to turn it over. It'll kind of turn over in chunks. You know, some may ask, hey, why not white meat? This is dark meat chicken that I'm using, okay? So for chilies and soups and things, I like to use dark meat because it has a little bit more flavor. There's not a huge difference. There's a little bit more fat. But from a nutritional standpoint, it's totally fine if you're watching your calories to use dark meat. So after about a minute and a half on the other side, you can start to break it up a little bit. And even though it's not fully cooked, you can start to add, let's add the onion. So as you see, there's not a lot of oil. There's a little bit of liquid, a little bit of oil, right? But that steam and the oil and the liquid in here is going to help to cook the onion. So we're going to start with the onions. We've got one nice large sweet onion. We're going to add our garlic. So after adding the onions and the garlic, I'm going to add my first portion of salt here. And then obviously it'll help to season, but it'll also help to draw some of the moisture out of the onion and further cook it a little more quickly. Now we're just looking to cook this for a few minutes until the onions and the garlic get fragrant and they turn sort of translucent. So our onions are getting there, they're getting nice and translucent. We're going to add our spices. So some fresh toasted cumin. By adding them now when we're still sauteing, it kind of wakes up those spices. Oregano, some Ancho chili, and then some dark chili powder. I'm going to stir this really well. Make sure it's really mixed in nicely. Again, we're kind of waking up those spices. You can smell it gets really nice and fragrant. Then we're going to add our fresh green pepper here. Also going to add just a little bit of fresh ground pepper. And then we're just going to give this maybe about 2 minutes until the peppers start to soften up. Okay, that's looking good. We're going to add our chicken stock and then bring this to a simmer. Now I have one option for you. You can add this if you'd like. I don't add this all the time. I usually save this for the summer, but when I was at the store, they had some really nice corn. So I took a few ears of corn, just sprayed them with a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of salt and pepper, threw them on the grill just to toast them up a little bit, and then shuck them, okay? So that's gonna go in. Again, the closer you get to the end of summer, if you make this, really add some more sweetness, another depth of flavor. And then Poblano Peppers. So all I did was, you can do these inside right here on the flame, or I did these on the grill, and just blacken these, put them in some tin foil to steam for about 5 minutes, and then just peel the blackened part off and chop them very small. So Poblano peppers have a beautiful flavor without adding a ton of heat. They are a little spicy, but not crazy. So we're gonna add those in. And now we're gonna turn the flame up and just bring this to a simmer. So while we're waiting for this to come to a simmer, we are going to add together, we've got some cold chicken stock, it has to be cold, and then cornstarch. So the nice thing about this is it's also gluten-free. You know, back in the old days, we would, it's a French term called sanger, we would actually take flour and just add it to the onions and the chicken or the turkey. That's the other thing. You could substitute turkey for this as well. So we're just going to mix this together really well. And this is what we are going to use to thicken the chili. So once this comes to a simmer, we're going to give that cornstarch another stir. And then we're just going to slowly mix the cornstarch in. And then let it come back to a simmer. With cornstarch, once it comes back to a simmer, it's activated, it's as thick as it's going to get. You don't have to further cook it like you would with flour or a roux. So I have 2 cans of cannellini beans here that I'm going to add. I've drained them nice. And again, every time we add something, we just want to bring it back to a simmer. Just going to give it a taste for seasoning. Almost perfect. Just a hint more salt, just a pinch. Maybe 2 pinches. And once it comes back to simmer, we're good to go. So I like to get a nice bowl, get lots of the garnish in there. So some of the garnishes that I really like to use here, a nice dollop, again, keeping very healthy. So instead of sour cream, some non-fat Greek yogurt. It's just as rich, in my opinion. Some really thin tortilla chips, some cilantro leaves, and a nice squeeze of lime. There you go. White bean chicken chili. Cheers.